The last few days, I've been working on essentially dialing in on my own personal story, coming up with the relevant details of my, not just resume, but the narrative of my life of accomplishments. And one of the things that I was reading about, this was actually on, I can't remember if it was day 1 or day 2. It said that at the end of each day, when you reflect on the day, instead of thinking about what you accomplished or what you did, what things off of your to-do list that you did or didn't do, answer the question, what felt most alive today? Rather than think about or measure or value your day based on what things you did, what tasks you accomplished versus not accomplished. I had 2 other things that I need to get done. And I was about to just sit here in the car and finish those things. And that would have me here easily another hour and a half, 2 hours, just doing another thing. And I was very appreciative of that reflection because I didn't get everything done on the checklist, but I had a few things that happened that really made me feel alive. This morning, I had a call with a couple colleagues and we talked about something that we're doing in educational business, fusing with some corporate training and some other stuff. Again, I'm talking about how I'm going to take the key to everything into corporations, do some more corporate training, building a business model out of it. It was a very business conversation. Our entire tone and our mindset was business. There was no smiling. It was just straightforward. There's no excitement in it. Even though we're all excited about our frameworks and our models, our faces were just stoic, just dialed in. But anyway, we all came alive when we started to talk about taking the work that we do and focusing it on in elementary schools and in high schools. And we talked about working with kids and actually helping them to take note of mindfulness, self-awareness, becoming clear on their individual genius and using the frameworks and the things that we've built to help them access their unique genius. Once they understand what makes them come alive, what do they naturally do that they could do it effortlessly. We came alive. We were so excited about essentially ensuring that a future generation had access to these things that it's taken us all deep into our 40s to figure out. Now I want to get back to this conversation about finding the genius inside of you and then that coinciding with doing something effortlessly. I've been reflecting a lot on the Taoist concept of Wu Wei, effortless action, and I'm doing a lot of reflection around that concept in general, just what's effortless, what's easy. We got excited about teaching kids key to everything to apply to their lives, to be able to do something once they now know their genius factors. Anyway, my reflection for day 4 was this morning. It was remembering value. Reconnect with lived wisdom, not resume. And to go back in time and not think about all of the accomplishments, but the feeling from things that you learned from experiences. When you take all of the things that you were doing while you were accomplishing things, what was the culmination and entire value of those experiences? And who did you become along the way? And so the prompt underneath that theme of reconnect with lived wisdom, not resume, the prompt was, when have I helped someone in a way that felt effortless? And it was just interesting because when we were talking earlier about the accomplishments and the skills and the appropriate, how we're gonna line up what we do with the appropriate metrics for success and the incentives, and all the incentives are all like money driven, spreadsheet stuff, statistics. But the only thing that made us feel alive were the things that we did effortlessly, the things that were aligned with our unique talents. And we didn't come alive until we thought about being able to do that work for children, and that being the culmination of our work. And that just kind of led me into the rest of my day where, again, I had a couple client meetings and had a chance to sit down with people to discuss difficult and different challenges that they were trying to address internationally. I was alive in those moments because I come alive in that problem-solving space. And it was so perfect because I'm in the middle of thinking through, how am I going to do a thing, key to everything, something that makes me feel alive, and I'm spending the necessary time in my 30 days reflecting, changing my own inputs, and being so deliberate of living out, being the key to everything, living this way of life. And everything that I'm running into is reinforcing it. And it's causing me to enjoy my days so much more because I'm mindful in the day. I mentioned on my conversation, my reflection yesterday, that I had an awakening experience a few days ago. Becoming mindful, learning to sit with, understand my emotions. When things are happening around me, feeling that thing. And instead of just trying to ignore it and then complete another task and do the next thing, to move on to the next thing, to be productive only, but to be alive and to experience how I felt. I had to do that the other day with something that was very difficult. The day 2 reflection, here's a prelude. The day 2 reflection was the beauty of impermanence. Theme, everything that once was still has value, even if it dissolved. And the prompt was, which past success or identity can I release with gratitude? And the action step for the day was to revisit an old project, photo, or note. Thank it aloud, then put it away. And I had to go back in time and do something that was very uncomfortable for me, and that was revisit the project, previous business, something that I put my heart into. And I went through a number of old photos and a bunch of memories for which on those days, till I looked at the photos, I didn't even remember. I was just sort of living, doing things, accomplishing tasks along the way. And so I didn't really feel the emotions in that moment. On the day that I was letting go of those things, I felt the emotion of loss, of grief. And though it's been a little bit more than a year, I hadn't ever sat with that feeling. And so when I ended the day, again, I'll talk about it in detail later, but when I ended the day on day 2, I realized that even in the pain, in the grief, in the good cry that I had to have, even in that, spending the time doing that made me feel alive. I knew I was alive. And I was so grateful that I took the time to just be alive. And it's effortless to just be alive and be ourselves. And I'm using the key to everything right now to reconnect with myself, to unlearn the programming that teaches me to be a machine, a robot, a productive robot. I don't know if all of this made sense, but I know that the feeling and the coming alive, particularly today on our call, suddenly we got super creative about business models. We started to go into different things that we can tweak in all of our trainings, as well as our frameworks and models directly, how we could change the narrative and the messaging to specific customer bases, a different way to approach schools in a way that offers them direct value and return on investment. We came up with new models for how to calculate return on investment, all within 15, 20-minute period of just elated action activity, all because we tapped into what made us come alive, and it was effortless. We made more money in that 15 minutes than we would have ever made spending the next hour and the next 3 phone calls strategizing about how we were going to do this corporate thing, when it didn't make us come alive. And it was a great lesson for me. If I just focused on the good feelings that I'd had along the way, what were the things that I've done with Key to Everything? What were the events that I was at? When did I come alive? And when I focus on that, the pathway is going to begin to move itself. And I won't even have to walk the pathway. I'm Rashad Howard. This is the Key to Everything, day 4. I'll see you tomorrow.